I would like to say big thanks to all the volunteers who support us, and personally to our dear friends Brandon and Tilda. Their continuous support is unavailable. Ukraine will win.
So this one's me in Mercado, about an hour after I met with Arthur Rahe. He shares a lot about how he got into what he did, what his army life was like, how it was growing up in America, and what he's doing now. I got to learn a lot about Mercado, and maybe you might find it interesting. At the end of the video, I put in some stuff from Dimitri, the Dimitri files of things we've been working on lately, that, well, where your money goes, basically. But I hope you enjoy. It's my last night in Bournemouth. There's something horrible going around. And I'm just studying bigger and bigger books. I passed my FREC 4. Thanks.
Right, so let's try this again. No swearing in the first 30 seconds. That's what Lindy Beige taught me. Hello, Andrew Mercado.
Hey, Brandon. First time we did that.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. Because you got to keep it real. So no swearing in the first 30 seconds. We're 7. Okay. But let's talk about you. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why this is all freestyle.
This is a great time though. I love this.
We
We didn't plan any of this. Like, we've just been chilling. We just finished dinner.
I ordered a bit too much.
I had a little too much too, but it was all right.
It's Ukraine. Be your own
Ukraine.
babushka.
Yeah.
Feed yourself till you 2 men sitting in a car.
Yeah. 2 men, 1 car. Nighttime.
It's romantic. I was really surprised when I did this with Arthur how much he opened up. And you can tell me whatever you want to tell me.
I grew up like middle class, middle to upper middle class.
And you're
I would say.
adopted?
Adopted, yes. So I don't know my adoptive parents. I was adopted when I was like a baby. So I've only ever known like my parents. Like they've always been my parents. So I have that background. And then school, I struggled. I didn't do my homework. I had no interest. I couldn't pay attention in school. I mean, I did, and like I went to it and shit, but like I didn't give the best effort, and I didn't really care about it. So
Was it a bit of ADHD?
I would say so. I think I'm actually
And the don't give a fucks?
that in the combination of both, because I can't just say, oh, I have ADHD, so there's my excuse. You know, like it was both. Like I knew what I was doing. I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but
From like 14 on.
Yeah. But I had no interest in it anyway.
Oh, what's going on down there? Oh, this is different. Now I don't give a shit about school or anything anymore. Let's do drugs.
But I had went though. Like I didn't skip school or none of that. But I went, but I didn't do my homework, and I like slept in some classes. I was a piece of shit student. But I had like C's. I still got by, like average to below average, just to get by. But I excelled in the arts and music, so I did have something. I was straight A's in my trumpet playing, and then anything artistically I could do.
Plays the skin flute as well.
Yeah, literally. So move on. I worked a year for my dad. I was out in like a warehouse, did a warehouse job. Made enough money to save up for my first year of school. When I was 19, so I went to college at a community college, so it wasn't like a full university, because I wanted to save money, and then you do your generals in the US, and then you can have a cheaper university time.
Okay.
You save tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. And who cares, right? I don't care about them. I'm just going to like a local school. Fuck it. Like I don't care. I didn't need a big flashy thing. But my issue was I was skipping class. Like I actually wasn't going now, because in high school at least I went to the classes because my parents made me. But now I'm like, I'm 19. I'm considered an adult according to the U.S. or 18, 19. But I wasn't going to class. I would like not go home, smoke weed. So I mean, I did that for like a year, and then I was getting ready to go to school again for the next semester. Like I think it was February. I was signing up. I was going to sign up for classes for the next year, because February, that's when you want to start signing up. Classes are cheaper and you can get in and shit. And my friend at the time hits me up and he says, "Do you want to join the army? Like,
Do you want to be all that you can be?"
Yeah, be all you can be, Uncle Sam. Like, and I'm like, no at first, and then I thought about it more. I wasn't doing anything. I was just smoking weed. And then I went home for like a week and just watched U.S. Army training videos, basic training. What's a shark attack like? When you get off the bus and they're yelling at you and shit, like they throw your stuff everywhere. And the job videos. I watched a few, like the infantry school video or like random stuff. So it piqued my interest. Plus, I always had a general interest in the military.
Yes.
Playing video games, shit. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, we played guns, or we like with clothes hangers, and we pretend we're in the military, and like, you know, we had bases we'd build, or like capture the flag or stuff. So I just had kind of a general military cultural interest, I'd say. But I never planned to join the military because like I was a puss, you know. I was like, fuck that, I'm not gonna die for anything. But I was at a time where I didn't have anything going for me. My friend, who was kind of close with him at the time, you know, we're going to do this together. Because the Army had this, you have a friend, you go in together type thing. So when we went through the thing together, and we went through the ASVAB, we went through the physical, all that. So we were all the way in, or besides just signing the dotted line to make it official, like here's your date to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to that point, and he didn't. And I signed my name and got to the date, and he didn't do that. He backed out at the very end. So, I mean, it put me into the military at least to start with. But then after I got out, it was a different story. I went backwards again.
What was it like all those years in the Army? Like, you do 4 years in America, that's the deal, isn't it?
It's an 8-year contract you have to sign for your first one. And
really?
Yeah, and the first 4 years are active duty, or reserves, or National Guard. But so it's a full 8-year contract, but I signed a 4-year by 4 years. So it's 4 years active duty, 4 years inactive or reserves. So I did
that you're basically liable to be called up.
Yeah.
You could do anything on Civvy Street, but you're liable to be called up at any time.
Yes, that's when you're inactive. I signed a signing bonus when I finished my active duty for like $6,000, and I drilled. So it was 1 week in a month, and then 2 weeks out of the year I wore the uniform. Did some training as a sergeant and shit. So
yeah,
it was kind of really easy at that point. But it was like you're a civilian most of the time, and the Army pulls you back for a weekend. You miss things. And then
so you got your gear sitting in the bag at home.
Yeah, I still have it. Like they didn't even take it back. Oops, maybe I should edit that out. I don't care. No, I have my DD-214. Who cares? Yeah, that's another thing I kind of want to consider doing anyways. But the Army, I was stationed in Alaska for 4 years. And as a 19-year-old...
10th Mountain Division.
No, it's actually 25th. The 25th.
Oh, sorry, what do I know?
10th Mountains in New York. Fort Drum.
See, I knew he was a liar, Captain America. I knew he was full of shit when he was telling us all this stuff.
So now all those people that said I was a liar, you better know. It's 20, but I was up in Fairbanks, so it was mostly cavalry up there. So we had Cav Scouts, and then we had helicopter infantry guys. And I can't remember what those dudes are called. There's like a certain infantry type for that, like the 124 infantry, and they had Apaches and shit in their shit.
Was it 4 years in Alaska?
Yeah, 4 years.
And you've been to Iraq as well?
We went to southern Iraq to pull equipment from Fobs and Cobbs. No, I didn't make it up there. We just pulled equipment from Fobs and Cobbs. I didn't see combat, nothing, and we just pulled it back into Kuwait, and then brought it to Camp Arifjan, Camp Beering, and we just did a lot of logistical work. We had gun trucks with us, we had Blackhawks with us, but we never faced combat. Like I got lucky. So nothing like that for me. But we were prepared. So that was a 9-month tour, which also had it easy because when I joined the Army in 2012, they'd already cut the deployment time down it started at 15 months.
Yes.
When the shit first kicked off, and then it was 12. And then I got lucky with a 9-month tour. So it wasn't that bad. It was actually kind of like more of a learning experience, getting better at my job. I mean, we had to be ready, but we didn't fight.
But you spent most of your time in Alaska.
Yeah, majority of the time in Alaska.
Like, if I was in Alaska, summer is summer, winter is fucking winter.
Yeah.
Like, did you drink a lot? Did you play a lot of video games? Did you go to the gym?
Yep.
What is the sausage to taco ratio up there? You know what I mean?
The only thing to do on the weekends is to go out and drink.
Is there actually any girls to even like make your your failed attempts?
Yes, but usually you know that your buddy and like your sergeant has been with her before, so you gotta accept that.
Yes.
So you just have to know that because there's like a 3-to-1 guy to girl ratio there. You have the Army there, you have the Navy, the Air Force there, and then you have just the general like in Alaska, you have like fucking
Burly
woodsmen,
men with
woodsmen,
beards like me, but can
dudes
actually
that
back
do-
it up.
Yeah, Alaska, the
their
fishermen
beard.
that come off, and then they come to Fairbanks, or
And
something.
they got money. And
Yeah, they have money, and so like it's dudes there, lots of men, and very minimal women. So,
sounds rough.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of times, but I mean, we got by, we got through. So I drank a lot, talked to the same women everyone else would, went out dancing, stupid stuff. But Alaska was a lot of outdoor stuff to do, actually. So I found new activities to do. There's a place called the Flats. There's 24-hour daylight. So, like kind of like it is in Finland. I know I have viewers in Finland, or you might too.
In Sweden.
Sweden is like that too?
Yeah, I got Finns, I got Norwegians.
Oh, yeah.
We got Canadians.
Alaska and the U.S. is just like that. 24-hour, you got midsummer there. But
FSB's watching this, so they watch my channel.
Yeah. But in Alaska, it's the midnight sun and shit. So, and it was a great time. There was a midnight baseball game that would be played that would start at midnight because the sun's it's like noon outside. If anyone's never experienced it, it's fun. I loved it, actually. I really did like summer times. Wintertime was tough. -72. That sucked. Fahrenheit. I don't know what that'd be Celsius.
I don't know either. It's cold enough.
That would be super negative in Celsius too. But it just wasn't, it was a time away from home, like super far away. I didn't get in any big trouble that got reported. We got away with a lot because Alaska is a place in the army where you can really.
What happens in Alaska?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Is there a lot of officers there who like are going dead end in their career and they just send them to Alaska?
Well, that and once they
Captains for life.
But then you get paid so much more there. They stay there because you get paid like an E7 sergeant first class is getting paid $70,000 a year there.
What would
US
they get paid
dollars.
normal, like in Texas or somewhere?
You get paid probably maybe 40 to 50,000, like dog shit.
Yeah,
yearly
right.
Salary. Yeah, bro. The regular army in the U.S.
What do they pay in Hawaii? See if I can get it. See if I can go. Oh,
yeah.
shit.
So it's Alaska and Hawaii are the biggest. You get paid, but everything costs more there. That's
I'll
why.
take Hawaii, thank you.
Yeah, at least you get a view.
Yeah, we'll see if the Japs come again. Oh shit, I can't say that. They're not the Japanese.
Yeah. No, but it was like $10.75 for like a drink in Alaska. Milk was very expensive. It was just tough. Plus we had budget cuts in Alaska. Like we had tough times with our pay. It was rough, but I got a lot of good training there. Learned my job well. The fucking tundra up there. It was like the ice road truckers. You never see that
you've
show?
seen all that shit.
Yeah, so that was. I could show videos where like trailers coming because I did gun trucks in the Middle East and then partially in Alaska just to train, but mostly it was driving like line haul semi trucks, like logistical vehicles. 915 if you're in the army, 915 A5s, Freightliners.
Americans. They think you know what they're talking about.
I have no idea. I just made that up. But we had MRAPs on the back that we transport from Anchorage to Fairbanks, and that's like an 8-hour convoy. And so going down
in blizzards and shit.
Yes, going down a 30% grade, like 45-degree angle, and like there's a cliff to the right. Truck was going nuts. We had to like drift the cab of the truck to keep the trailer straight going down the hill type stuff. Like the Ice Road Truckers show. They might dramatize a little bit, but majority of that is
real.
That's real. Oh my god, I lived it. Yeah. So Alaska was such an experience. Good times.
And then what happened, bro?
Got out of the military in 2016 because goddamn, what a year that was too, right? Like 2016 and on, we've just been in such a time.
What happened? I kind of live in a bubble, by the way. Like I'm like a.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that when Trump got in?
Yeah, that's when Trump got in.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't talk about American politics.
But it's okay. I voted for him. For him in 2016. I'm going to be honest. I got an M&M myself. I did. So, and at that time, I was a heavy coke addict because I fell into the wrong group of friends.
Yeah, right.
That really didn't go. That really didn't go anywhere. But like, I didn't have my friends anymore. So I remember going out to the bar.
Have the structure.
Yeah, I still remember the night it happened. Like I went out to the bar, And my friend was like, "Hey, you got 20." He's not my friend anymore, really. But like, he's like, "Hey, you got $20?" And I was like, "Yeah, here." And then you come into the bathroom with us, and we just like fucking do one. And, like, I was already drunk, so we just did a line, and it started from, occasional just use, like just for a fun night out, like a party night. You know what I mean? No, I wouldn't. That you won't even call it addiction. Like, you're just going to have fun, but then it turned into one, because it turned into, okay, one night a month or whatever. It turned into, okay, one night a weekend.
I'll never do this again.
Yeah, I'll never do this again. And then it turned into one night a weekend. Then it turned into 2 nights, both nights, Friday, Saturday. And then it turned into, oh, well, let me get some Thursday nights, so then I can do a little bit, and then I have some for Friday and Saturday. And then it turned into more nights, and like and then my whole paycheck was going to the shit. It ruined my entire life. Like, I was gonna kill myself, actually. I almost did. And it was just not, like, from 2016, 17, and 18 to the time I finally got clean was in January of 2019. But that whole time period is just cocaine usage, and like not going anywhere in life, and just literally like sleeping in my truck sometimes, because I'd be so fucking zooted, and I couldn't go home because I was like shaking and shit because I did so much cocaine. So I'd have to like lay in the back of my truck like this all night long. I didn't even sleep, and then the sun would come up because I found a park to park in, and then I'd go home and just be and I don't know if I've anybody that's ever done that. Like, as soon as you come down from coke, you are just so depressed. Like, all of the little serotonin shit that you get, it all just gets washed away, and you just feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So
no, I know, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I've never experienced this in my life.
Yeah, it was horrible, right? So this was addiction. It was real life addiction shit. So I mean, I slept on a bench one time, like a park bench, because I just couldn't go back in, because I didn't have a place to live. Like, I was living with my parents, then I got kicked out of there, and then I lived with my grandparents, and like they kept me well. I was just literally just a piece of shit. Like, just got out of the U.S. Army, coke addict. I had jobs though. I did have jobs because I had to fuel my coke addiction. So at least I was employed, but I wasn't literally just flatlined in life and then just full on addict.
Let me lay out a scenario to you. You maybe have or haven't reflected on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You've got the money,
mm-hmm.
or you don't have the money, but then you get the money, and then your dealer, or the only dealer that's available at the time, he don't answer his phone. You are jonesing and you need to score, and you've got that pain in your chest, that anxiety, that race inside of you that eats you up inside.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe you get a text message from your dealer. Stop fucking calling me. I got it. I've got good shit. I'll be home in 2 hours. Come then. And the moment you get that text message that you know in your heart to be true, you were going to score in 2 hours, all cravings cease, and you feel a complete relief inside of you, because you know psychologically that you will score in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Every bit of pain inside of your body is gone.
Yeah.
I never realized that for years, but any addict I've ever talked to understands that the insanity, the addiction to get more.
Like,
but when you know that your supply is secure, and you know in your heart that you will have your drug, all is well.
Yeah, it's like it provided a calm, actually. Like, it was almost as if that was a drug on its own. Like, you know what I mean? Like, knowing that you were gonna get it, and even if you couldn't get your fix now, even if it was like 3 hours from now, okay, it's gonna happen. I'm in a good mood because I know I'm gonna be able to do what I got to do.
When ecstasy became fun, became normal. When it was great, and then it just became normal, and then to stay normal. How do you reconcile? I have seen many addicts, myself included, and I don't like to talk up my great attributes in life, but I know I have many. And I know I have abilities that other people I see around me do not have, that I can achieve goals, that I can hyper focus on what truly interests me, and I can achieve much more than the average person when I focus on that goal. Dare I say, our activities in Ukraine, personally, it's not the most interesting period of my life. like personally interest. My commitment to the boxing community and to kids and development and my own development in the sport, that was more interesting to me because I was working with people and developing them in sport. But my commitment, what happened, I had a successful business for me. I got so committed that what happened, it was like a tunnel vision. Other aspects of my life, my romantic life, my relationship with my girlfriend started to fade. My business, I wasn't taking on new investments. It started to crumble around me, and a mentor of mine told me, you've been letting your business slip over the past 6-7 months. I can focus with a tunnel vision on any goal, and they can be good goals, but I have to be so careful because everything else in my life can slip.
Yeah.
So that brings me now to Mercado Media, and you have a die-hard following of people that who support you, and what you do well.
Thank you.
I don't think if you weren't an addict, you would have achieved what you have, because what you put into it. How did Mercado Media start? How did
it was almost kind of like
I know half the story, but
yeah, it was almost kind of like a fluid timeline from becoming sober to Mercado Media, and it happened at the perfect time. Like, there's no way I could do this as an addict. I wouldn't be able. I mean,
no not
one
a using addict.
No, hell no. No one would trust me. Of course not. Like, I would have already. No, it would have been a nightmare. So I got sober in 2019 because I'm not sober now because I'm in recovery, but I don't use, so I'm clean. There's like a difference, right? People will say they're sober, but they still drink and shit. So I'm in recovery, I'm clean, but yet I'll still drink and I smoke weed, but it doesn't ruin my life. Is that if that makes sense? You know, what I mean? I'm still in recovery. I go to meetings, I do recovery activities, but I'm not sober now. But for the first year, I was sober because I needed it. So from 2019 on to 2020, I was completely sober. No drinking, no weed, nothing.
Sure.
No cigarettes.
That's the path I chose from 2012 on. That's me.
Attaboy. Yes, it's an honorable path. It's a very honorable path, and I so respect anybody that does that, because it's super honorable. So I had no cigarettes either. So I had no tobacco.
Not me.
You did the tobacco one?
Yeah, coffee and cigarettes will get you through your first year.
I cut caffeine too. No caffeine because the treatment I went to didn't allow it.
Really?
Yeah, because I had to go to treatment.
I never went through a treatment, just straight into the rooms.
Oh, I see. I'm not. See there. So we'll see you. Yeah. But I went to treatment because I couldn't. I was a puss. I couldn't quit on my own. So no, I don't want to say that, because if you can't quit on your own, it's okay if you need to go to treatment. There's nothing wrong with it.
I couldn't quit on my room. The strength of 30 people in a room carried me through.
Good.
Yeah.
Is whatever it takes. So I went to treatment twice. The first time, it wasn't the best of programs, but I didn't put any effort into it. Maybe if I put more effort into it.
Was it a 12-step based program?
It was 12-step.
Or a religious program?
It was a VA.
VA program?
A VA 12-step program, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had our phone, and the other thing too, we had our phones too with us, so I watched YouTube videos in my dorm. I didn't do my homework really. Whereas
they didn't leave you to get stuck in your feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Whereas Teen Challenge, no cell phones. They took our phones the first day. Like I said, no caffeine, no cigarettes, so no tobacco at all. Obviously, we're
growing
sober.
men and women brought to tears.
Yeah.
Being left with themselves.
Yeah. So the second time I went to treatment in 2019, that worked. And then I put a good program together. So then as soon as I was graduating from Teen Challenge, inpatient, because you're living at this facility, like you're at this place. So then we planned it, so I'd move into a sober house. So like I went from there to like an all men's house. There's like I had 6 roommates. We all had chores we had to do at the house. We had meetings we had to go to that were required at the church. It was full on, like still like full recovery mode, but at least you're not in the facility anymore, you're in a house. Plus I had outpatient treatment. So in the morning from 8 a.m. to noon, I would go to outpatient treatment in Minneapolis, and it was a great little thing. We had group therapy, and we did group activities, talked about our feelings and stuff. And then we'd go back home, and then we had nighttime events and whatnot at our church that we went to, because we had to go to church as well. It was a faith-based treatment place to go. So this went on until the fall of 2019, because then I was going to go to school to become an addiction counselor, because I wanted to help veterans.
Yes.
I wanted to help other veterans, because I still feel, even though I didn't put as much work into the VA treatment, I still feel like it was not the best. So I wanted to go back and kind of help it out.
Do what you can.
Yeah, do what I can. So I went to school. I had a 4.0 GPA for the first time in my life.
Something you wanted to do.
Yeah, I was the president of the Veterans Association. I was a treasurer of the addiction counseling. I was super involved. The most involved in school I've ever been in my life, outside of like band and shit, like I told you earlier, because I was good at arts.
Yeah.
So it was going well, right? This is 2019. And what happens next? COVID, lockdowns. We're at home, right? And my thing was waking up and going to school, like getting showered, getting dressed, like going there in the morning, having coffee, you know, like the whole thing. It was like a whole routine, and that helped me like be on a right schedule. And then like I'd be at school, I'd have my own office at school with a key, and like this is crazy. Like I never thought I'd have this, especially from being just an addict, and I have my own office at school. You know what I mean? So I was like really took pride in that. And then bam, COVID lockdown happened. It turned into just homework at home. And as I said earlier, what I say, I suck at homework. I didn't do it. I hated it. And now we're back in that again. So guess what happened? I'd stopped doing my homework. Didn't do my assignments. I'm falling backwards now because I'm just at home. I'm playing video games and just not fucking doing anything because like nothing's open. There's nothing to do. And lockdown for like the first week or two was like ass.
Yeah.
We fucking couldn't do shit. Sorry. But I found solace in playing softball. Like we organized softball events and we still went to the park and played even during the lockdowns. I don't know if it was right or not, but we still did it. Who cares? Right? It happened. So then the riots in Minneapolis took place. George Floyd was killed from Derek Chauvin. The police, the guy kneeled on his neck.
I remember that.
Yeah, it went viral.
I seen the memes.
Yeah, it went viral.
And it was disgusting.
Yeah. So it went super viral. I live in Minnesota, so it happened in my home state where I live, like right in the city, right? So on Facebook, like the Facebook Live went out. And I'm like, what the? I can't believe this just happened. And like the whole Minnesota was just like, oh, dude, it was just fired up, right? Because we've had other issues with police in Minnesota like that have gone viral before. This isn't the first time. So like they went out there. Like I didn't go out there the first night, but a group went out there and protested. I think they smashed cars too. So they did some shit to the police cars and like spray painted them, and then the police like gassed a whole bunch of journalists that were out there. And like it was just like a whole thing, right? And this was before the riots even took place, and so then it kind of drew attention, like what the hell happened last night?
Yeah.
So a bunch of people went down there the next day to just go to where George Floyd was killed, and like they had a whole like thing down there. Like there were people down there. There was no riots, but they were just down there, and like there was like singing and shit and like dancing and whatnot. It was like a whole like cultural type experience.
Yes.
where George Floyd was killed. And so then I'm about to go home because people said that, hey, there's gatherings by the 3rd precinct again. Now the police station is about 10 minutes away from where George Floyd was killed. So I'm like, well, I kind of want to go home. The riots really don't seem comfortable to me. I don't really want to be around that. So I'm going home, and this guy, literally, he's in his car. He asks for a lighter because he's going to smoke a cig, and I smoke cigarettes still. So we smoke one. He says, hey, you going over to the 3rd precinct? And I said, no, I kind of plan to go home now. Like, I just wanted to come and see what the hell was happening, and I did. And he's like, oh man, there's a lot of people over there. They're gathering, like lots, like hundreds and hundreds. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go over there. And then my friends at home tell me, hey, can you go live on Facebook? Like, can you stream what's happening down there? Like, because the news isn't down there. Like, they're not doing anything. There's no coverage of like what's happening. So like, I didn't even know how to do it. So like, they told me how to find the live button and shit. So like, I found it.
It sounds like me.
Yeah, I didn't know what, because I had only had my Facebook page. I wasn't a social media person. Does that make sense? I didn't put content out there. I wasn't involved in the stuff I am in now. I had my social media, but it was for my family and friends or whoever, you know?
Yeah.
So
post pictures of my dog.
Yeah, like that type shit, or like what I ate for dinner for my friends.
Oh, I hate those people. They used to post like that was 10 years ago on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a shower. I might go to town later today, and they just write that before even pictures. It's like or they used to say, "Got to get up in the a.m."
What's on your mind? When it used to be like that. Oh, it was cringe. It was a cringe time. So.
And your great aunt would send you a friend request, and she'd write to you in caps.
Yeah.
Anyway, your story.
Yeah. You're so true, though. So true. Yeah. So the riots. I'm trying to think of where I left off.
That was the beginning of Mercado Media, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when I saw.
That was like an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't. I got sent off. So the other thing too is, ironically, just like I got sent off by my friend in the army when I joined and did that, I got sent off by my friends because they said they were going to be down there and meet me there. And,
Yes.
And they were in the messages. I'm like, okay, bet. And I was like, where are you guys? I said, bro, we were kidding. We're not going down there. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm down here. Why are you? So I've been sent off twice in my life that turned into be very important life experiences. So I really can't complain. So, and I still give them credit too. And they laugh to this day. Like, I don't give them too much shit because I don't blame them. Who wants to be down in a riot, bro, or whatever. Like, so that's when they said you should go live and record it for us. So I literally went live, and then like it started. I had like 1,000 people, 5,000. 20,000.
And this is the first time you ever went live
First
in
time.
your life.
Never been live before.
Do you know what I mean?
68,000 people watching me live on Facebook Live. I had the craziest moments ever. There's a famous thing, porta-john like tipped over, and like dudes like punched out of it, and like emerged from this porta-john that tipped over, and it went viral on the internet. Like a bunch of like
That's a portaloo for non-Americans.
The porta-john monster.
Or a porta-potty if you're from Canada. The blue rockets if you're in the army.
So besides just buildings burning, there was just a lot of meme-worthy like events happening, like mail trucks like just like crashing, and like people like stealing things out of the Target. That was
it like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
Yeah,
like
in real life.
Before the last mission when it was like riot mode?
Cops opening
when you got to get 10 penny?
Yeah, and the cops had the door open to the van, just popping people driving. It was full Grand Theft Auto. It was
all we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
It was the most lawless situation I've ever been in my entire life. Like,
cool.
I've never seen it was the most chaotic savagery I've ever been in, because the police weren't there. There was just chaos, burning buildings, stores. Like, people were coming out with ceiling tiles and shit. Like, it was just shit was going crazy. So that happened for about a week. And then the riots finally ended after like 7 days, and then they turned into like people marching with signs and shit. So then I was like, well, I just covered everything burning and craziness. I'm going to stick with what's happening now, because it's not fair to just cover a part of it. I got to stay with this whole thing now.
Yeah. And you were getting a rush out of it too, weren't you?
Oh yeah, of course. Like, I was, because it was like every day. So I'm like, oh God, and people were relying on me. Like, I had 60-some thousand, like, watching my live stream. Right now, I'm lucky if I get 2,000 people on my stream. I had tens of thousands every single day. Yeah. Going viral every single day. So I felt like I had an obligation.
Oh, he's that guy.
Yeah. So I turned it into a business because I was getting donations, and then something in my mind was like, America is going to get you for taxes and shit. So I was like, well, I need to make an LLC and then make sure I'm filing my taxes correctly. So that's when I started Mercado Media Productions LLC. So that way all of this shit I was getting from people like sending, you know how they send donations? Like,
yes.
Yeah, so I had to make sure it was all legit, and I wanted paperwork correct. And the governor's office in Minnesota actually like helped me with it, because they were watching my fucking streams, because the news wasn't down there like we were. I wasn't the only live streamer, but I had the most attention on my shit, and they were watching because the news just wasn't there. And that's, I think, why my platform has had success, because I kind of go places where either the news gives up on, unfortunately, like Ukraine, or they're not in the middle of it. And like in the US, because in the US I can get in the middle of it. I, unfortunately, here in Ukraine, I can't get in the frontline trenches. No,
I don't advise you do.
Yeah. So there you go. But in the U.S. though, I can handle some tear gas and flashbangs. You know what I mean? I can handle that.
Yeah, of course you can. I think it'd be fun. Do you know what I mean? It's like no, but I work, like, put it in context. I work 2 kilometers back. 10 days of my life I've been at like 0, and it's not. You know what I mean? So oh, you're a hero. It's like there's levels, bro. Yeah. Yeah, but I would like to see that, like that. That's come
to the U.S. for the 2024 election. I'm sure there will be plenty of it. Come through.
Oh my God,
you can be with me. You can be my guy.
And you're supposed to be like the best country in the world. And I don't want to go critical here. And people are tearing it apart.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's like, oh, let's have a riot. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is your story now, but like, especially when you get east, like Donbass and stuff, and I shit in a hole. Do you know what I mean? And you have all these beautiful cities with these beautiful streets, and people are just angry and tearing the. It's. I feel really sad for you guys sometimes. Like I all Americans have always been good to me on my travels. Like if you treat an American good, they treat you better. Europeans aren't like that. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, but it's true.
Interesting.
But yeah. Oh, how you doing, hon?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's like,
especially in the South, they have Southern hospitality.
Oh my
where
God.
you just get things like, you know, like, kind of like how babuskas treat you here. It's like everyone in the South is kind of like, or majority of people in the South are just like that.
When you were covering this, like, okay, so that was
2020.
That was 2020.
So I covered the protests and riots for like 2 years, and then they died, and then it ended.
Because you traveled all around the country doing this.
Yeah, doing the whole thing. I followed everything because I'm like, if people are gonna watch me and trust me, I have to go around the country. And in the U.S., it's super easy to travel state to state to state to state to state. Like it's nothing. You can drive. There's passport required if you've never been to the U.S. before. Traveling from state to state is literally nothing.
There's no block post.
No, so it's super nothing to just do that, and I did for 2 years, and then they stopped, and like from the winter 2021 into 2022, there was no more protests. BLM stuff was done, so I was kind of just playing.
COVID riots were over.
Yeah, riots were all done. So then it was me. I was playing video games at that point, just streaming games, like. And I had a big following. I was playing Grand Theft Auto modded games, and I had like thousands of viewers. It was crazy. I was going viral for playing video games. I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna play video games now. I'm one of those people where I'm just gonna roll with it. Like if I'm having success in this, I'm gonna do this. Yeah. And so, like I kind of mentioned to you when we were at dinner, I'm playing video games, and my chat comes in. Like I get even more people, and it's my news viewers that watch my protest stuff. They're like, hey, Vladimir Putin just announced that he's going to invade Ukraine, and this was on the 20th. And
you're just playing video games.
I'm playing video games, and I'm reading my chat. I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like, I didn't know. I have no fucking idea what was happening.
You weren't, as Americans say, you weren't tracking.
No, I wasn't tracking. I was not. I had no clue. Ignorance.
I'm tracking you.
Yeah, I wasn't tracking. So, and I'm like, "What do you guys mean?" And they're like, Ukraine's going to get invaded. Ukraine's being invaded. So then, so then I didn't even know how to set up like. If you watch my streams now, we kind of have a flow, and I'm on there. I didn't even know how to set that up, so I just was like, okay, I'll put my camera on the screen somehow. I'm gonna put up the internet. I'll pull up Google Chrome, and like we'll just scroll through the news or something, and just see what is happening in Ukraine.
Yes.
And so I went live on YouTube, and here we go again. Like I had like 5,000 viewers. I was getting hundreds of thousands of views a stream.
Yes,
I had the biggest stream when it first started, covering it every night. Because we found live cameras, so we didn't even need news coverage anymore, because we just watched Ukraine's CCTV cameras of the Russians entering in the east, and we watched the Russians destroy cameras. Like we were watching one, they were sitting there watching, and like, look at these motherfuckers. We saw the Z on there and everything with the
herpes ain't on my lips, so it's all good.
We saw Soviet flags coming in. We're like, what the fuck, dude?
This is weird.
And then we watched them smash one, like live. Like the camera
you're
was
looking
live
at the
on
camera,
YouTube.
and there's the guy.
Yeah, YouTube feed up. We're watching it. Russian smashed camera, like on feed. Like that was crazy. Like moments like that. Or other moments where we're spending time, like, and I understand why they shut them off because of operational security, but people at this time were watching it because they were like concerned about the Ukrainian little checkpoints that they had, and like they were like, oh, there was like one specific one called the bridge, where like there was just like these territorial defense guys that had had bolt action rifles, and like people were concerned for them, and they just wanted to make sure that they were alive. So like they would tune in and just watch this live feed to make sure that these two dudes at the spot, I don't even know where it was, we called it the bridge, and making sure they're okay.
Yeah.
So people were concerned, like the fact that they could see it happening in real time was just game changing. Like, and then we'd watch Maidan, and then in other places here in Kyiv, and just live feeds and just hear the sirens like all night. And
there was YouTube channels without even a personality. I remember, and they were like coming up on my suggested feed. Where you'd watch a camera of Odessa, a camera of Kharkiv, a camera of...
That's what it was like on YouTube in the early days. Yeah. So that's what we did. So I would commentate over that, but also pull up the live map that actually had pinged on the ground videos. This is before... Keep in mind, this is before Elon bought Twitter. So Twitter was actually useful for this when
Yes.
the war started. So it was super easy to like find reliable sources on Twitter. This sounds so crazy. It was just a year ago. You can't find that shit now, but easy, and then quick made lists, and I had bam, instant, like hundreds of sources of on the ground people here in Ukraine that are independent. They weren't corporate, and they're like taking video, or they're like independent journalists, and or Kyiv. Shout out to Kyiv Independent. Follow them like right away. Kyiv Post. Just tons of Homradske, RFE, Radio Free Europe has been here, Associated Press has been here. So like those people, they might have left now, since, but like early days they were all here. So just found videos and just kept aggregating stuff and like finding things. I was never taking credit for any of the footage. I'd be like, here's this journalist, and look at, they did an actual good job, because a lot of people didn't trust the news still. So I'd be like, hey, maybe we don't trust the news company, but at least this journalist did a good job in this report. You know what I mean? Like we'd find good journalists that were at least telling the truth, and I'd try to highlight that type stuff. And then it turned into what we do now, where now I'm here in Ukraine, thankfully, to my subscribers and people that support me, and if you want to talk about it, the NAFO convoy and stuff that we fundraise. But it turned I guess we can go from, unless you have any further questions about that, but that's how we got to cover Ukraine, essentially, from BLM to Ukraine.
From playing video games.
Yeah,
to
BLM, video games, Ukraine. No, but I also play video games too now. I found a way to do both, so it's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, it's because I have half an idea. Like, if I can be honest with you, I maybe like watch your channel like once a week or something. Like, because like if we're not working at night, like we got Starlink, or like if I'm lying down, it's like, oh, I'll see Mercado's live, and I'll just like watch it for 10 minutes. I'll say hi. Everyone seems to like it in there, and like I see the same names over and over again. So it's like, oh, that's nice. You know what I mean? It's like so and so, and it's like, hey, and they love all that shit. But then it's like, I hear your voice. I've met you before. We've talked. It feels really nice just to hear a familiar voice. And I do the same. I do the same with the other war bloggers. Everyone's got their own style. But I hear voices that I know.
And for me, it's surreal. I mean, we've met a few times, but
I was in Florida on the training course, and we did our live stream.
We did our live stream, but now we've met in person a couple times. But when I was doing my news aggregation and I was finding videos, like I said, you were one of the common ones where, okay, well, here's and you didn't even have that big of a YouTube channel at the time. I don't even think you were really focused on building it either. You were just had your video, you just had your phone in your jacket, and you were working literally.
Yeah.
You're like filming your work. So, and that was great, and you still do that. I'm just like, when it was first time, it was just raw, the whole thing. It was like the most raw, surreal thing, and like you didn't even really focus on telling the stories, but you could get the stories out of what you were filming. Like, that's how we learned who Nika was, and people grew on her,
Nika,
yeah, and like the lore between you two and the little relationship, and then all your friends that you'd have and who you talk about and like your experiences. So I like found those, and like I'd have those, and I'd commentate over that and be like, look at Brandon, and he's like doing work, and like that's a good place to go to. It was just finding sources, but it was just surreal because we watched your videos and like got to meet you in person. It's just really cool.
I really like how do I say, so Andre Starsky. I last year, he was kind of a guy I'd go to a couple times on the phone. I've talked to him for like over an hour, where I needed like to vent, because he's not operator no more. You know what I mean? He's Starsky, and he does a very important job, but he served in Donbass in the old war. He knows Svitlodarsk, Novolikansk, all these places that you guys look at on maps, and it's like I felt I could kind of talk to him about some problems, because I felt like my soul is getting torn apart trying to do social media and do my job, and I literally felt like a rip in my fucking soul, and it's like I got to put a smile on my face every fucking day, and I got to hype myself up and like drink 3 coffees before I like, not like film in the work, like, because some of those are pretty fucking raw, and I've got I've probably got about 400 gigabytes right now of work in Kherson, and I don't know what to do with that footage. I'm letting some of it out, and I've got to, because donations have plummeted, and he taught me, don't listen to your greatest followers because they won't help you. And I was like, what's wrong? Is it Israel Palestine? And then I looked last night. Last month was 350,000 hours view time. I don't know if that's a lot or a little. This month is 100,000. Well, there you go. If I don't post, ain't no one getting generators.
That's how it works too.
And in Kherson, there's so much we can't film. And it's like, and I'm also have an identity crisis, like an ego. It's like, are you a medic, or are you just like my friend Max says, do the journalism, because they're getting all the shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like if I don't do a job, I can't have any content.
If you don't do the work, you're not going to get your own content to film.
Do you know? Yeah. And I'm so invested in our work in Kherson. Anyway, it's tough. It blows my mind. But everybody except for a few people have been very supportive throughout the army. There's been a few problems along the way, but I see what you were doing. I seen what Georgie's was doing. I seen Arthur. I've seen okay, so like Georgie's helped fundraise for me. Jake Bro has donated money to me. Like, you think about that. Jake don't fundraise for Ukraine, so it's his revenue. He's paying tax on that. You know what I mean? So it's not a project. Like, that's really cool. Everyone's doing their own thing. I see my friend Max, who barely speaks a word of English. He has the best community post of anyone.
Thousands.
And they're so well thought out and well read. And he don't even speak English, but he uses GTP. He does amazing. I see what he's doing, and as a result, his unit has drones.
It's kind of like, you know, without the we kind of need the content, you know, and it's a difference. It's not like none of us, I would say none of us if there was a way that we could get Ukraine the assistance without having to do so much content around it, I think that would be like, it's not like, you know, oh man, we got to do content. Oh, let's do content. But if you don't, we understand that you're not going to get it. We're not like, it's not like that age of, you know, vloggers where it's like, you know, they're doing, hey guys, here we are. Like, it's different mindset, I guess. Or like, you understand the need for it. Whereas like, people can see it because it's transparent. They're like a part of it. They're like, oh, we fundraised for your thermoscope, and then, oh wow, here's a video of Brandon literally handing the thermoscope off to the person.
It's good business. It enables next week.
Yeah, it's a return on investment, but in real time, and people can watch it. They can see it.
I did that with Max and Pasha. I gave their brigade 2 generators. I knew they needed them. They didn't need them any more or less than anyone else. But that was like, I hate to say that it's return on investment, because everybody who donates knows who they are too. So it's like a friendly face. And it's like they needed them too, just the same as everyone else. But it made sense. War's a business. It made sense to give them generators. You know, and that's decisions. Who's ever had to make, like, you were in the American Army. We were talking about this before. Oh, you can't post nothing. OPSEC. Me taking a shit is OPSEC. Do you know what I mean? Donbass dump. You're going to identify that gray wall with blue trim, because everybody paints their door in Donbass blue. And it's like, yeah, that's the one. And that, it's like, shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. But if we don't post, like, that's a weird, what you've done for this, what yesterday at the Soostrumming party, that's a few $1 million worth of drones and generators and EcoFlows and thermal scopes that those boys otherwise wouldn't have. Because I've seen the stuff come from America. Like, they send us crap. When they say they send us night vision, that's the stuff from like Camp Lejeune basic training. Do you know how an optic works when it gets scratched? How many years do they use that in training? That's what we got.
Because that's why they do this, because they'll find like a unit or something.
That's your tax money.
It's the hand-me-down stuff. It's hand-me-down, so that way the unit can get new stuff. Like, you know what I mean? They'll send, say you ask for
National Guard 155, and the commander has to choose the one. He's like, oh well, I'll give him my shitty
ones. They'll give you the shitty ones because then that unit will get new ones replaced. Like Uncle Sam will give them new ones, but Ukraine gets the the ones that were the most broken.
It's like an American 120 with Spanish 120 ammo.
Yeah.
It actually shoots more to the right.
Yeah.
So, so it's like they have to calculate what type of ammo they're using.
Yeah.
And if they forget what country's ammo it is going into the mortar, you might actually lose a couple rounds.
Yeah, easily. And it's already like a couple generations old equipment to begin with. You know, like we're not sending Ukraine the best of the best of the best equipment that we have, or even the newest generation. It's like two, 3 generations or more ago stuff, and then of that, it is not the best of even that stock. It's like
shit.
It's the shit stock. And so
Mercado, I just occurred to me, maybe the aid package is part of them going down. Do you think America's run out of the shit?
Ooh, maybe they're trying to see that maybe they got some decent shit now.
And there's like,
The
we don't know
decent
if we
shit?
want. I don't know.
The shit to the decent shit.
I mean, we're not General Ben Hodges. We're
no
not
idea.
professional. Our opinions are not professional. Our speculations.
I do know that. Yeah, I do know from Ben Hodges though, and seeing his speculations, from what I can gather, is that U.S. needs to start developing some artillery or some stocks. As we need to. Like the West isn't developing anything, which is crazy. While Russia is in like just pumping it right now.
Do you track? Because I don't watch all your channel. Do you track Russian EW capabilities?
Sometimes, like in videos.
Do you acknowledge that how advanced it is?
Yeah, they got some. They have.
Our countries might not come out on an electronic warfare point of view. Maybe don't come out on top. I'll put on some heat, brother.
Yeah, we need to put some heat up. America has some good stuff, but in terms of what's happening out there, though, yeah, Russia has an electronic warfare advantage, and that's why it's such a victory when Ukraine's able to actually destroy one of those things, and why when you guys are like, you might see it on a video and you're like, what is this EW1510? Like, that's boring. It's not a tank. No, that's actually very like crucial. Whenever Ukraine destroys one of those things,
the whole war.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Maybe I should make a more bigger emphasis on when they're hitting these electronic warfare shits.
Maybe
it's crucial.
because you got the technological ability. Okay, like maybe you could explain how a battlefield actually works from the blindage, from the trench. To the rear is the mortars, to the rear is the artillery and MLRS, where they'd be spread out over a wide front. In the rear behind that would be the ammunition dumps.
Yep.
But in between all that, very well hidden, is the EW assets,
Yep.
which sometimes can move every 2 hours.
Yep.
They're so valuable. Basically, see, I don't know, like when we started losing in Donbass last year, I started losing ground when the Russians pulled out of Kherson on the other side of the river. At the time, we didn't really have anything to do in Kherson. I'm talking like a general now, but it's quite simple. They moved a lot of their electronic warfare assets to a much smaller front, to Donbass.
Yeah.
And that's how that advance happened. Your Bakhmuts happened. That's how your Soledar. I mean, there was a lot of other factors, but essentially they had those assets in a much more concentrated area.
Yeah.
Electronic warfare, and that's what we have to contend with.
It jams radio signals, so like coordination, like Brandon just laid out. So like the infantry can't communicate with the artillery to call in like fire. So it's jammed. So
And Starlinks, radios,
jammed.
everything's dead.
Drones can get downed from it. Like they have CUAS guns that can shoot them down. So it's just, that's what's attributing to why things haven't moved, because Russia has a lot of it, Ukraine has some too. So it's like stalemate right now.
I only ever watched the Blevins brothers when you were having your problems.
Yeah.
I knew they put me in one of their videos before,
Yeah.
whatever, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was chaos watching their videos. Like their live stream was like I was getting PTSD from following their live stream.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, Ukraine's smashing this and they're smashing this, and they say these stupid little slogans. Yeah, they're doing, and it's like people are dying.
Yeah.
People are dying every day. Like, and it's like, yeah, Russia. It's like Russia is a cartoon character, and they just.
Yeah, it's like infotainment.
Yeah, it's like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner,
Yeah.
like the coyote never gets and he always gets hammered.
Yeah.
That's what their like YouTube is, and it's like no, like real Ukrainians are dying every day, and these are our challenges.
And that was my criticism.
They're
to
the
begin
worst
with.
of all,
Yeah.
but everyone always puts a positive spin,
No.
and it's like, oh, maybe Ukraine doesn't need the help if they're always winning.
Yeah. That's what got me into it to begin with, because they were the same niche as me. They were live streamers, and I'm a
Yes.
live streamer, so I didn't want, and we have the same community, honestly, because we have the same viewers, just like you have the same people that watch you.
Yes.
I might do more streams, but people that watch your videos watch my streams.
Yes.
So like we shared the same people. So I'm like, so this is what happened actually. So I had the most I had more people watching my stream when the war started, but I had to move out of my house and move into a new location. So in March of last year, I missed 2 weeks of the early days of the war and no coverage.
Killed you.
Killed my whole thing, and that's when the Blevins brothers got all the and so then they took over, and they've had it since, and they get like 4,000, 5,000 concurrent viewers a stream still, so they are the most watched Ukraine information. So I just was like, well, they get criticism because they're the most watched shit. Like they're not free from any criticism, and so that what you just said was some of the things I was saying. They had questionable thumbnails, and then it turned into them just like throwing legal threats at me to actually sending me legal paperwork, and it was. I should have. What I should have identified was that they were gonna fight legally, and they were gonna fight at a class that I can't fight with them. You know what I mean?
But it just goes to show early in the war. I didn't even start. I had no social media.
Yeah.
Zero social media. I deleted my Instagram 3 years before. Deleted my Facebook maybe a year before the war.
Yeah.
Had zero social media. Just said maybe I'll be productive in life instead.
Yeah.
What a novel concept. I never started an Instagram till April 29th in the war.
Yeah.
If I had started one like on March 16th when I came here,
Yeah.
then you could take a piece of shit, wrap it in foil, paint it blue and yellow. People were buying that.
Yeah.
Like I'd have 80,000 Instagram followers now. I'd have like at least double, triple. If I had started a YouTube then, and just like me sitting in a room in Kyiv, oh my God, you hear the siren?
Yeah.
That's basically what happened. March, April, whoever built on that then, it's a zero-sum game. That they're where they are now in the Ukraine YouTube community, if that's what you want to call those guys.
Yeah.
But that's.
So 2 weeks for me, I missed crucial time, but I got it back because my community was solid from the beginning.
Of course
but
they were.
The ones that didn't know who I was, that were watching for me, like they needed information, so they found the other live stream, and so then that was history from then.
So
on.
that's how that one played
That's how
out.
that played out.
2 weeks.
2 weeks of no stream. For
2
me
weeks in Ukraine could be a
in
lifetime.
March. Yeah.
For some people, it was.
Yep. And I was like, I tried to move into my new apartment as fast as I could. I was like so stressed. I was like losing sleep because I was watching what was happening, but I couldn't stream it because I had no internet because I was moving. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was like sick during that time. But I'm blessed to have what I have now.
Look what you do now.
Yeah, exactly. So
And that's why I went
to
to bat for you. I didn't know the ins and outs of your whole problem, and we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
But I've seen the fruits of your labor.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen theirs.
Yeah.
I've not seen theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your work must continue. Your work should continue, and that's all that was to me. And that, I think that was a real nice thing that a lot of people helped you out.
Yeah.
And let's try to never ever talk about those guys again, those children.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks in March.
Yeah. 2 weeks in March. That's what it was.
Do you know what I mean?
That would have even been like, who are they? Would have been extra. Who are they?
It could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
You know.
But I'm blessed to do what I do now with NAFO and bring in trucks, like you said, and that's like my whole reason. And my ticket into Ukraine isn't just a train ticket or whatever. It's I have to bring a truck, or I have to bring drones or something. Like I'm not just gonna come to Ukraine just to I'm here, like I'm just experiencing it. You know, I'm bringing things, or like it's important. I feel like there will be a time for tourism here in Ukraine. I don't feel like it's right now. Maybe you feel differently. I don't know. But I just feel if you're gonna...
I think a summer day in Kyiv is pretty nice to me.
It is nice. I'm not gonna lie, it's nice. But do you feel people coming here and I don't know. I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna come here, bring something for the soldiers, or do you know what I mean? Do something to help.
Do you know what? Bring an IFAC. Costs $100 for a good IFAC. Just bring one IFAC.
Sure, yeah.
I'll tell you who to donate it to.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, like, don't waste your time.
Right. If you're gonna come here, bring something useful for the soldiers or something.
Do you know what I mean? Bring one IFAC. It's $100.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That should call that your Ukraine tax.
Yep. Perfect.
Take a train from Warsaw, Krakow, overnight. 2,000 hryvnia for a bed. You know what I mean? A bed. So what's 2,000 hryvnia?
Yeah. Maybe
$50.
$50.
Do you know what I mean? You got a bed on a train.
Yeah, it's not bad either. I like that. I like the night train. I don't mind it.
And like just to see how people live here. Do you know, this is one thing. Like, and Jelika came here. You met the German woman the other day.
Yep.
She's one of my YouTube followers. People like Hanak on here know her. The thing is, my car broke down. I posted an Instagram story. She's like, I'm coming to help. I was like, no, I'll be all right. I'm trying to be all man about it.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I going to do in Germany? Do you know what I mean? The only guys I knew were volunteers who help out in Germany, and they're all ex-German army alcoholics.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm drunk now, but I'll be sober in the morning. And you know, she took care of me for 2 weeks. That's someone who supports on my YouTube. She paid for the car repair. She's a saint. I got trolled hardcore. What are you doing in Germany on holiday? Do you know what I mean? It's like, bitch, please. I didn't plan this. She just came here to deliver a bunch of things. She knows a Ukrainian family in Lviv. She made a trip out of it. She went and delivered some things to a hospitality team, friends of mine in Dnipro. She got an apartment, cooked them dinner because she's like a babushka.
Yep.
You know, like, she can do that.
Yeah.
You know, she even went and stayed with my friend Max, his babushka. You know, like, because she's like, oh, I can go there in a couple hours, and they're like my family.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't tell people about my time here in Ukraine. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, I haven't seen any war, you know, it's peaceful, I did shopping, the food's good. And it's like, she thinks in her mind, because she's such a Ukraine supporter, she's got to push the suffering upon people. And she's like, well, when you were in Kyiv, you had the largest drone attack in the history of the war so far. And it's like, what was that like? It's like, well, everything was banging, and I had people calling me asking if I'm okay, and I could hear the noise everywhere. But I think part of the air defense system is German, so that made me happy. I got some value out of my tax money for once. You know, but she should tell her normal story.
Yes.
You know, like, people should go to... You've been to Lviv?
Just passing through.
Passing through?
Yeah, and we had a drone attack in the same time.
I've been there to pick up cars, you know, like, I actually seen Lviv. I went to pick up my new residency card and this truck recently. It's beautiful.
Wow.
I was only there for a few hours, but like the Lviv Cathedral, I was there the first week of the war, and I was like ashamed. I'm in Lviv, I'm not in the war. Like, this is the Lviv commando place. I live in my head, Lviv bad, but it's a beautiful city. Ivano-Frankivsk, I mean, have they been hit with anything during the war?
Yeah, actually, yes. That's where that's where Zelensky's from.
Oh, well done. Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I had to go deliver stuff to a German volunteer there, you know. I never would have gone there. Like, West Ukraine is beautiful.
Yeah. I've heard. I want to go to the Carpathian Mountains too.
I want to go to the Carpathian Mountains.
We should go.
We should do that.
Yeah, we should.
But like, people can come to Ukraine.
Yeah.
People can come to Ukraine. If you want a cheap holiday, like, come and be respectful.
Yep. Absolutely, yeah.
My only worry is, and this is, we're getting towards the end here. I hope people don't come here with expectations, like when the war's over, the victory parade. And it's your victory too, because you supported. There's a lot of people in this country who just want to ignore the war. 1, 2, 3, I love me. I don't hide around that, you know. Like, imagine how many people didn't support World War II. Pearl Harbor, where's that? Do you know what I mean? That's probably the way history was.
Yeah.
Like,
When
not
you think
everybody
back
was.
now,
Yeah. If you really think, because I've seen it in this country.
But growing up, you think that it was unanimous, like everybody.
Because that's the story they sell.
And now you learn now that wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case at all. You know, there was a big minority pushing "Don't send Annalise to Britain." You know what I mean? It's
same with the U.S. Like, make peace with Hitler and shit.
You know, like, it's all bullshit now. Oh, we helped them. Yeah, Britain only paid that bill off 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't for free. But the thing is, what you do as followers, I've just broken the fourth wall. They call that. You support Ukraine more than some people in this country do. And if you followed this war long enough, you're intelligent to know, yeah, that's real life. Some people only think of themselves. Some girls, I don't want to pick on them here, they're more concerned about duck lip selfies. There's more boys who go to the gym, they're into self-care. You know, I don't want to pick on the yogites or whatever, but there's people more focused on that shit here. They're a minority, do you know what I mean? But there's people on the internet who've never been to Ukraine who have more of a stake in this war. So I would hope you would come here at any time. You know, don't go to Donbass. Don't go to East Donbass. There's no good that can come out of that for you. But you should see this country. And after the war, when some of you come to the victory parade, and there's a lot of slogans people use on the internet, we don't know, Ukrainian soldiers ain't gonna know what you talk about. Like, there's been a meme culture developed over this, like Slava Ukraine. Nobody says that in Donbass. People just die every day when a general comes. That's a Kyiv thing. You know, like, if you look at a man at that victory parade who's like 30 years old but he looks like he's 50, you know, if he don't respond with a smile and Heroim Slava, just be cool with it, because he's spent. He's got nothing. I said this before, is like, I know I'm a good person, but a lot of times I'm not a very nice person. And there's no excuse for that. I try to be a nice person.
Yeah, you don't have to be nice to be blunt or to be direct.
And these people will never know. These guys will never know. They don't know about English-speaking YouTube and all the communities online who donate millions. Some of them do, but the majority of the army ain't getting that help. They will probably never know. You know what I mean? But you don't do it for recognition. You don't do it for. We just do it because it's the right thing. Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'm glad we did this.
Same. This was a good one.
I learned things about you. I wanted to learn, and I hope we can. Maybe we can work on some projects together.
Yeah, it would, like going to the mountains or something together. Like you did that. We could do a hike across the Carpathians to raise money or something.
I was thinking of sending you to Donbass to do a delivery.
Maybe that one babushka that didn't
go sleep in the bunker
and,
for the night.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Go try to get the elderly to leave challenge.
I got to go home to Sweden for probably at least 4 months. QM for Ukraine, a big Swedish organization, has hired me. They understand my immigration situation. They're supporting me, and then that I should come back to Ukraine. But I'm actually going to work as an employee for a very large Swedish organization that aids the military, and I'm going to try to influence it. First of all, understand what they're doing, and then try to influence it in any positive way I can. You know, maybe sometime you're picking up a car in Sweden.
Yeah.
And we can load it up with all kinds of goodies, with some the destinations determined.
Yep.
And maybe you could document that yourself for some of those people that I know.
That would be awesome.
You know, because if I can't go for a while, I can load you up with everything and who to meet and where to go. And maybe you could do that, like, if you'd be interested.
The courier.
Yeah, well, Dmitry inspired me. That you met him briefly yesterday. In Donbass, he's a civilian. He's now in the territorials. He works on drones. But he just came, he followed 72 Brigade. That's a Kyiv brigade. Yeah. Those are all his friends. And he was in Irpin and Bucha driving around, bringing them whatever the fuck they needed. He got an apartment in Kramatorsk, did his IT work at night. All their packages at Novopost, he would pick them up for anybody up and down Donbass, deliver it to second line positions. He was like Novopost Spetsnaz. Like, he kind of inspired me of what is possible. Yeah. A 24-year-old ramen eating fucking IT. Do you know what I mean? I ain't 24. But like, maybe because you've been to Donbass, you're a little bit more, you're not as risk averse as some of our friends.
I have a military background. I'm down.
But sensible things, you know, go meet some people and bring some things to them, and they've seen those people on my channel, because I'm not an interviewer. These are my friends. You know, and they speak English. It helps. But maybe you could do that.
Yeah, I would like to.
And other people could see them too. But now I think I've got something coming on. Yeah. I've got to get a good night's sleep. Yep. And I don't know when this will air. I desperately have to get to Kupiansk.
All right.
Because the FPV guys, you heard me talking to them.
Yeah.
They want me to document all this shit.
Yeah.
You know, right from brigade level, to do as much of that as I can. I want to direct probably 50% of my resources I get to FPVs. And I want to give people options to support other. I've always done that. I'm the only person in Ukraine I know that of the foreigners who actively promotes other volunteers. But I want to direct that now if I can to FPV.
Yeah, that's what I want to get on next. We do.
Archer's on board.
Yeah, we do trucks,
You're on
but I
board.
want to get on board with FPVs. So more FPVs.
And I think we should all find our own projects with FPV, because just like anything in life,
Yep.
I don't think we should invest it all in one
thing.
direction.
Yeah, that way we
'Cause-
have as long as we can find a solid FPV source to raise for. Because the one thing I like about the NAFO trucks is I can trust it. You know what I mean? And it's
Of
all
course.
transparent.
But the nature of FPVs, Archer's project, he's going to talk about his on there. I support his is at an organized level. I support decentralized. These are guys living in their apartments. You see the way they live. They're ramen eating nerds, and they get the components and they build them.
Yep.
And they do their 10 a month or their whatever. This is not. That's the route I go. Maybe we can talk more about that in private another time. I can introduce you to some people. You can get to know them yourself. But I think we should all, as a whole, this is the one thing that's idiot commander proof, because the drone teams is such a new asset.
Yeah.
They kind of have autonomy.
Yeah.
And it's just like the American army, like a NATO army should be. The colonel trusts the captain. The
Yeah.
captain trusts the lieutenant. The lieutenant, you know, like from the battalion to the company to the, well, I don't know, Sergeant. I'm not there on the ground with your squad. They trust. We don't have that in Ukraine. In many of the units, we don't have an NCO corps, but the drone teams do operate that way. They have a lot of autonomy, and when they have FPVs, an FPV crew can do that autonomy. There's a BMP, how many they can make that call because they fundraise for their own.
Yeah.
They don't have to ask command. They can engage right then and there. They can make the bombs out of Soviet mines.
Yeah,
It's like Terminator, rise against the machines and smash those fuckers. You know what I mean?
Such a advanced warfare, but still like in trenches.
In trenches, but they can make the call. They have the autonomy, those teams. Whereas if you're calling in artillery, you don't have that. And you don't get to choose the asset that lands on the target you're watching.
Yep.
And it might not even come. So it's Biden proof as well. If the 155 shells don't come, if the HIMARS don't come,
Yeah.
FPVs can always come if we choose.
So we got to get on that.
1 hour, 17 minutes.
That's what I'm talking about. Good one.
You know, and you're what, you're 30% Lebanese, your blood?
Yeah, about 50%. It's about 35% indigenous, 30% Lebanese, 20% Italian, and then
See,
some
wheelers
shit,
and
yeah.
dealers, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're
a little bit of each. Indigenous, Mexican, Lebanese, and Italian.
we're the other white people in America.
Yeah,
Do you know
the
what I
other
mean? The Italians,
Hello
the Lebanese.
from the other side.
We can do this.
Yeah.
I'm half Lebanese. You know what I mean? We're the black Jews. We can, you know what I mean? I'll keep selling shawarmas, and we'll keep putting it into FPVs.
Anything for Ukraine.
Look at the schnoz. We both got one
Yeah,
too.
we got one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're already there. They've said that to me my whole life, so it's like I'm already used to it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. I'm
That
going
was
to
a
turn
great
this off,
conversation.
and then we can go and well, we just say goodbye.
Goodbye.
We're on our way to Rivne. We got Pasha. We got Jeka. We got Hans. Hans, say hi. Oh, he's still sleepy. We got me. Oh boy. It's all wiggly and shit. Gotta say, that's a cool medic car they got. So, we got it.
Hello, Brandon. Hello, my friend. Thank you for your help. Thank you for help, you guys. Today, you guys took the car to repair, and I think everything will be good. Thank you. You're the best. You're the best friend. Thank you.
A saucy. Oh shit! Wait, YouTube style. There we go. A saucy. I got sick and I'm running out of tissues. But anyways, not the point. Daniel here. He transported this thing to us. There are some visible issues with it. There is some shit leaking out from the engine. So we're gonna get it diagnosed as soon as we can. Interesting car. Drives overall well. Eats up fluids though. But yeah, we'll have a more detailed analysis once we put it up on the